Thank you. So your professor, colleagues, and ladies and gentlemen, it is a great honor to be here today to talk about the need to promote a human economy. Human economy means an economy based on an integral development model that looks at all the relevant dimensions, the economic, the social, and the environmental one. In dealing with that as a global society, we have had huge challenges. From a social and economic point of view, we need to face increasing gaps between and within countries in terms of prosperity, living conditions, access to energy and infrastructures. From an environmental point of view, we need to address the more and more crucial issues of climate change. Referring to increasing gaps, they are evident just looking at population and GDP data that show how OECD countries that represent only 17% of global population contribute to 60% of global GDP, while on the other side, Africa, with the 17% of the world's population, only account for 3% of global GDP. The figures related to access to energy are even more impressive. Today, we still have around 800 million people in the world without access to electricity, mainly in sub-Saharan Africa. African per capita energy demand is indeed among the lowest in the world, almost 1/10 of the USA's. This despite Africa has more oil and gas reserve than US and a huge renewable potential. Considering climate change, we have a main target to achieve, as agreed at the COP21, to keep global temperature rise well below 2 degrees Celsius. In order to contain the temperature increase, the amount of global emissions we can issue into the atmosphere is limited and should not reach 2.9 teratons of CO2. That represent, we can say, our carbon budget. Anything over this threshold will cause irreversible damage to the environment. However, according to international agency, we have already exhausted more than 75% of this budget. Notwithstanding this extreme situation, to date, the commitment made by various governments are neither consistent nor sufficient or homogeneous amongst all the countries. In this context, the energy sector can provide an active contribution. Indeed, energy it is at the basis of any form of development, accounting at the same time for 33 gigaton of CO2 per year. In particular, energy companies have competencies and technologies to contribute to provide clean, efficient, and affordable energy, while mitigating their carbon footprint and doing their part for the long-term value creation that looks beyond the pure energy supply. In doing that, there is no a single solution, but complementary ones that can be pursued. First, developing natural resources sustainably, leveraging existing assets through energy efficiency, carbon capture, storage systems. Secondly, developing renewables energy sources. And third, following a bio and circular approach to transform biomass and organic and inorganic waste into new energy products, also extending the lifetime of existing facilities. This is the case, for example, for the conversion of traditional refineries into biorefineries. This integrated approach makes the transformation easier to achieve because it reduces the amount of capital needed to transform the industry, and allows at the same time to provide the carbonized product to the final customers. To keep feeding this evolution, energy companies need to invest effectively in research and innovation with the aim of accelerating the industrial implementation of technologies. Anyway, by providing their contribution to support a fair, just, and shared evolution, energy companies have to consider different potentials and constraints of two different parts of the world that are progressing at different speeds. In developed countries, today accounting for 60% of the CO2 emission, if we consider OECD plus China, they have to promote a model based on the deployment of zero low carbon technologies, optimized energy consumption, and circular economy. In developing ones, they have to favor the access to affordable and reliable energy, leveraging local resources as gas and renewables, and investing in the construction of the relevant infrastructures. Moreover, energy companies can expand the scope of their impact in the countries where they operate, contributing also to economic diversification and looking at the fundamental needs of local people, from access to water and health services to education and professional training. ENI's business model represents an example of this multidimensional and integral approach. Through a strong presence along the value chain, ENI wants to contribute directly or indirectly to achieve sustainable development goals of the UN 2030 agenda. This implies a business model that combines economic sustainability, social and environmental one, and moves along three directives. First, operational excellence, carbon neutrality in the long term, alliance for development to address the valorization of resources of producing countries, but also to promote a wide range of community initiatives. Leveraging the competencies and technologies developed in the last years, we are pursuing an ambitious long-term strategy based on a concrete project and solution we have already experienced. Just to give you some examples of concrete projects. In order to enhance sustainable mobility, we have already converted two of our traditional refineries into biorefineries based on our proprietary technology, with a total capacity of around 1 million tons per year. Talking about the process of carbon capture and storage, we have identified a huge storage potential in Italy in the Adriatic Sea for about 500 million tons of CO2 at a very low cost. This is a major opportunity not only for Italy, but also for neighboring countries. Furthermore, our waste-to-product technologies that will enable ENI to valorize organic and inorganic waste. This is the case of our waste-to-fuel that we will leverage the treat and the first phase 600,000 tons per year of organic fraction of municipal waste produced by 6 million people to obtain biofuel and water suitable for industrial and agricultural utilization. Moving in this direction, we want to be leader in the energy transition by providing to our customers green, bio and blue products, the last one capturing and storing the CO2. This is how ENI can contribute to long-term value generation. But to be effective in this action, we cannot move alone. The unprecedented challenges we are facing ask us to work as a system in which all the actors must play their role, complementing each other. The private sector, as we have seen, thanks to its skills, technologies, and investments, must promote a sustainable development which balances business, environmental and social economic growth in the long term. Institutions and government should implement policies that support investment and properly address its action to enhance public good. The civil society is called to adopt an individual behavior that aims at an optimization consumption model. Public-private partnership with international recognized organizations such as the United Nations agencies are key elements to catalyze growth and sustainability. We must endorse these paths altogether and be credible and pragmatic in our actions. This is particularly true today with the pandemic that hit the world, that has forced us to face human limits and left uncovered our vulnerability. These circumstances made us understand even better that we must work to support sustainable and integral development. As representative of the energy sector, I feel the urgency to move in this direction. Thank you very much for listening.
There is a question for Dr. Descalzi, and that is this question. This individual would like to know, are energy communities an efficient way to cut emissions? And the suggestion is made here that it might be better to try to connect the territories into a global or a regional smart grid. And according to some parliamentary proposals in Italy, the two things appear to be separated and incompatible. Your perspective on that?
So, sorry, can you repeat? So the solution is, because I couldn't hear you.
Yes.
The solution is to connect, sorry, I don't understand.
Well, energy communities, I think the question is, are energy communities an efficient way to cut emissions? And it might be better to try to connect the territories into a global or a regional smart grid. And I think secondarily to that is some of the parliamentary proposals in Italy.
No, I got it, yes. So just talking about Europe, in the past we wanted to create more efficiency, to connect the different countries on the gas grid or electricity grid. We still found big problem. Why? Because we have different kind of rules, different kind of tariff, and it's not really easy to connect all these countries, also because they have also different kind of sources. There are countries that are still using coal, countries that use nuclear, and so at the end of the day, and we have different regulations and different laws. So that is one of the issue in terms of create a homogeneous rules or regulation and taxation. And then when the rules are homogeneous, you can also physically adapt any kind of efficiency that you create in your network. At the moment, it's not completely easy. That is the issue that has been debated also at the European level.